Have you ever had a day where you feel tired, irritable, anxious, unfocused, and somehow hungry and not hungry at the same time? You reach for coffee, then another coffee. You skip breakfast because you are busy. Lunch becomes whatever is available. By evening, you are craving sugar, bread, snacks, or just comfort. And at night, you wonder, why do I have no energy? Here's the reframe I want to offer today. Sometimes the problem is not that your body is failing you. Sometimes your body has been trying to survive on inconsistent nourishment. Today, I want us to talk about food, mood, and energy, not dieting, not guilt, not perfect eating. I want us to talk about why your body needs steady nourishment and how skipped meals, over-caffeinating, emotional eating, and long gaps without food can affect the way you feel, think, and function. If you have been running on empty, this conversation is for you. I think many adults have normalized a level of depletion that the body was never designed to carry continuously. We often treat food as a reward, a problem, a temptation, or a weight loss strategy. But before food is any of those things, it is information and fuel. Your brain, hormones, muscles, nerves, and organs all require energy. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is this. People expect stable energy from unstable nourishment. Imagine trying to keep a phone alive while charging it randomly for 5 minutes, then unplugging it for hours, then charging it again only when it's about to die. That is how many people are living, not because they are lazy, not because they don't care, but because modern life rewards urgency more than rhythm. Let me walk you through a very common day. You wake up already slightly stressed. Maybe you slept late. Maybe the children need attention. Maybe work starts immediately. You drink coffee. No real food. For a while, you feel okay. Then late morning arrives. You become shaky, impatient, distracted, or unusually hungry. In the afternoon, you finally eat, often quickly, a large meal after a long gap. Then comes the crash, sleepiness, brain fog, cravings, and the desire for more caffeine or sugar. By evening, you arrive home exhausted. This is where emotional eating often enters. Not necessarily because you lack discipline, but because your body has spent the entire day trying to compensate for inconsistent food. This is not a character issue. It is often a rhythm issue. I want to explain blood sugar steadiness in very plain language. When you eat, especially foods that contain carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose, which is a major energy source. Your body works best when that energy supply is relatively steady, not constantly spiking and crashing. Think of it like a campfire. A few small logs added regularly create steady warmth. A huge pile of paper thrown in at once creates a big flame. Then very little left. Many people unintentionally create a pattern of long periods with little or no food, followed by very large meals, followed by cravings for quick energy. You may notice feeling angry, getting headaches when meals are delayed, struggling to concentrate, having sudden cravings for sweets, or feeling emotionally overwhelmed when very hungry. Again, this is not about perfection. It is about giving your body a more predictable rhythm. Some people intentionally skip meals. Others skip meals accidentally. And I want to speak especially to the second group, the mothers, the caregivers, the busy professionals, the founders, the people who feed everyone else first. You may say, I'm not trying to skip meals. I just don't get around to eating. But the body still experiences the gap. Common eating costs include increased cravings later, overeating in the evening, low patience, low mental clarity, and feeling weird and tired at the same time. I'm not saying everyone must eat 3 meals and 2 snacks. Different people have different needs. What I am saying is this. If you frequently go many hours without nourishment and then feel out of control around food later, that pattern is worth paying attention to. Now, let's talk about the wellness topic nobody wants to give up: coffee. I enjoy tea and coffee in moderation. This is not an anti-coffee conversation, but coffee is not nourishment. A very common pattern is coffee instead of breakfast. Coffee to push through fatigue, coffee to suppress hunger, and coffee to compensate for poor sleep. The problem is not the coffee alone. The problem is using stimulation to replace fuel. Ask yourself honestly, am I drinking caffeine with food or instead of food? Am I trying to feel energized or am I trying to avoid feeling depleted? Sometimes what we call low energy is actually not enough sleep, not enough food, not enough water, not enough protein, not enough pauses, or too much stress. Caffeine can temporarily increase alertness, but it cannot replace the building blocks your body needs. I also want to talk about the connection between food and mood. Food is not the only cause of mood changes. Life is emotional, stress is real, relationships matter, hormones matter, mental health matters. But many people notice that when they are consistently undernourished, their emotional resilience becomes lower. You may become more reactive, more anxious, more tearful, more impatient, or less able to cope with ordinary stress. One question I often ask is, did the problem get bigger or did your capacity get smaller? Steady nourishment does not remove life's challenges. It can help support the body that is carrying those challenges. Now, let's talk about emotional eating, and I want to do this without shame. Emotional eating is often discussed with a lot of judgment, but let's be honest, food is connected to comfort, memory, celebration, grief, reward, and relief. The goal is not to become a robot who never eats emotionally. The goal is to notice the difference between I want comfort and I have not been nourished. Sometimes we are seeking comfort, sometimes we are seeking fuel, and sometimes we are seeking both. A helpful pause is this: what am I needing right now? Energy, comfort, rest, or connection? That question can reduce shame and increase awareness. Let me make this practical, not perfect. Practical. First, eat before you are starving. If possible, avoid waiting until you feel desperate for food. Second, build meals around staying power. Think about protein, fiber, healthy fats, and foods that keep you satisfied longer. Examples could be eggs with vegetables, oats with nuts and seeds, rice with beans and fish, yogurt with fruits and nuts, sweet potato with eggs, or a balanced soup with protein and vegetables. Third, pair caffeine with nourishment. That's if you cannot leave the caffeine alone. Tea or coffee is often better tolerated when accompanied by food, especially if you are sensitive to hunger, shakiness, or crashes. Fourth, create a rescue snack. Keep something simple available: nuts, fruits, yogurt, boiled eggs, roasted granules, or another balanced option you genuinely enjoy. Fifth, hydrate consistently. Fatigue is sometimes worsened by inadequate hydration. If you have been running on empty, don't try to fix everything tomorrow. Try one day of steadiness. Eat something with protein within a reasonable time of waking. Have a balanced lunch. Drink water during the afternoon. And if needed, have a simple snack. Eat enough in the evening to be satisfied, not punished. Then notice your mood, energy, cravings, and sleep. Not with judgment, with curiosity. I want to leave you with this. Many adults are trying to build a meaningful life on top of an undernourished body. You're trying to parent, work, create, care for others, make decisions, manage emotions, and pursue purpose. Your body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency, steadiness, and care. So if there is one message from this video, it is this: stop treating nourishment as something you have to earn. Steady nourishment is not weakness. It is support. It is preparation. It is one of the quiet ways we build a more stable mind, a more resilient body, and a more grounded life. Wholeness is not perfection. It is alignment. If this conversation helped you, share it with someone who keeps pushing through exhaustion. And in the comments, I would love to know which pattern you're working on right now. Skipping meals, over-caffeinating, emotional eating, or building steadier nourishment rhythms. Thank you for being here. Take care of your body with the same compassion you offer everyone else. And I will see you in the next Wholeness Wave conversation.